Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back to my channel. And back to finally another ASMR Apple book club video. I know it took me 5 months from the last one to do this one, but I got into quite the reading slump. So yeah, it just took me a while, and honestly I was reading books that I was either like in the middle of a series or books that just weren't very relaxing to read the first chapter of to you guys. But I just got this new book that is pretty short, so I feel like it's not too daunting. No, so yeah, we'll finish it somewhat quickly so that I can have part 2 up for you. But I don't know if any of you are Agatha Christie fans. My boyfriend's little sister actually just got this for me for my birthday, and we are reading it together, so I thought it would be fun if we also read it together. It is called Crooked House. Agatha Christie, if you don't know who she is, she was the most widely published author of all time, outsold only by the Bible and Shakespeare, so that's pretty good. But she's like known as the Queen of Mystery. She writes mystery novels. They tend to have a good twist to them. Death on the Nile, I don't remember what that book is actually called. I don't think it's called Death on the Nile. That's the movie. And Murder on the Orient Express are probably her most popular books, or the most known. Murder on the Orient Express, definitely. I'm also actually reading that one, but I'm only like 50 pages in. But yeah, that's probably her most popular books. She has one called Halloween Party, which was just made into a movie called Haunting in Venice. So that was her book as well. And yeah, I read Endless Nights. It's the only other one I've read all the way through. And like I said, I'm currently working on Murder on the Orient Express. But yeah, I really liked Endless Night. I thought it was a little bit slow, but very good and had a good twist. They all tend to, I think, have a bit of a twist in the end, so I'm really excited. This is one of her self-proclaimed one of her favorite books that she's ever written. I'll read you the foreword. This is like what she had to say about the book. But just in general for this video, this is our book club book, so if you'd like to pick it up and read along with me and us and let me know all of your thoughts. I will be making another video after I finish it on my thoughts and my review, but for this video, I'm going to read you the first chapter so that you have an idea of if you would like to read along or not. But we will start with the foreword. She says, "This book is one of my own special favorites. I saved it up for years thinking about it, working it out, saying to myself, one day when I have plenty of time and really want to enjoy myself, I'll begin it. I should say that of one's output, 5 books are work to one that is a real pleasure. Crooked House was pure pleasure. I often wonder whether people who read a book can know if it has been hard work or a pleasure to write. Again and again, someone says to me, how you must have enjoyed writing so-and-so. This about a book that was obstinately, she also has some big words, so it works your brain, refused to come out in the way you wished, whose characters are sticky, the plot needlessly involved, and the dialogue stilted, or so you think yourself. But perhaps the author isn't the best judge of his or her own work. However, practically everyone has liked Crooked House, so I am justified in my own belief that it is one of my best. I don't know what put the Leonides family into my head. They just came. Then, like Topsy, they growed. I feel that I myself was only their scribe." Agatha Christie. So that is what she had to say about this book, so I'm very excited to start it. We have Crooked House, Chapter 1. I first came to know Sophia Leonides in Egypt towards the end of the war. She held a fairly high administrative post in one of the foreign office departments out there. I knew her first in an official capacity, and I soon appreciated the efficiency that had brought her to the position she held, in spite of her youth. She was, at that time, just 22. Besides being extremely easy to look at, she had a clear mind and a dry sense of humor that I found very delightful. We became friends. She was a person whom it was extraordinarily easy to talk to, and we enjoyed our dinners and occasional dances very much. All this I knew. It was not until I was ordered east at the close of the European War that I knew something else, that I loved Sophia and that I wanted to marry her. We were dining at the Shepherd's when I made this discovery. It did not come to me with any shock of surprise, but more as the recognition of the fact that I had been long familiar. I looked at her with new eyes, but I saw what I had already known for a long time. I liked everything I saw: the dark, crisp hair that sprang up proudly from her forehead, the vivid blue eyes, the small, square, fighting chin, and the straight nose. I liked the well-cut, light gray tailor-made and the crisp white shirt. She looked refreshingly English, and that appealed to me strongly after 3 years without seeing my native land. Nobody, I thought, could be more English. And even as I was thinking exactly that, I suddenly wondered if, in fact, she was, or indeed could be, as English as she looked. Does the real thing ever have the perfection of a stage performance? I realized that much, and freely as we talked together, discussing ideas, our likes and dislikes, the future, our immediate friends and acquaintances, Sophia had never mentioned her home or her family. She knew all about me. She was, as I have indicated, a good listener. But about her, I knew nothing. She had, I supposed, the usual background, but she never talked about it. And until this moment, I had never realized the fact. Sophia asked me what I was thinking about. I replied truthfully, "You." "I see," she said, and she sounded as though she did see. "We may not meet again for a couple years," I said. "I don't know when I shall get back to London, but as soon as I do get back, the first thing I shall do will be to come and see you and ask you to marry me." She took it without batting an eyelash. She sat there, smoking, not looking at me. For a moment or two, I was nervous that she might not understand. "Listen," I said, "the one thing I'm determined not to do is to ask you to marry me now. That wouldn't work out anyway. First, you might turn me down, and then I'd go off, miserable, and probably tie up with some ghastly woman just to restore my vanity. And if you didn't turn me down, what could we do about it? Get married and part at once? Get engaged and settle down to a long waiting period? I couldn't stand doing that. You might meet someone else and feel bound to be loyal to me. We've been living in a queer, hectic, get-on-with-it-quickly atmosphere. Marriages and love affairs making and breaking all around us. I'd like to feel you'd gone home, free and independent, to look round and size up the new post-war world and decide what you want out of it. What is between you and me, Sophia, has got to be permanent. I've no use for any other kind of marriage." "No more have I," said Sophia. "On the other hand," I said, "I think I'm entitled to let you know, well, how I feel." "But without undue lyrical expression," murmured Sophia. "Darling, don't you understand? I've tried not to say I love you." She stopped me. "I do understand, Charles, and I like your funny way of doing things, and you may come and see me when you come back, if you still want to." It was my turn to interrupt. "There's no doubt about that. There's always doubt about everything, Charles. There may always be some incalculable factor that upsets the apple cart. For one thing, you don't know much about me, do you?" "I don't even know where you live in England." "I live at Swinley Dean." I nodded at the mention of the well-known outer suburb of London, which boasts 3 excellent golf courses for the city fancier. She added softly in a musing voice, "In a little crooked house." I must have looked slightly startled, for she seemed amused, and explained by elaborating the quotation, "And they all live together in a little crooked house. That's us. Not really such a little house either, but definitely crooked, running to gables and half timbering." "Are you one of a large family? Brothers and sisters?" "One brother, one sister, a mother, a father, an uncle, and aunt by marriage, a grandfather, a great-aunt, and a step-grandmother." Good gracious, I exclaimed, slightly overwhelmed. She laughed. Of course, we don't normally all live together. The war and blitzes have brought that about, but I don't know. She frowned reflectively. Perhaps spiritually the family has always lived together, under my grandfather's eye and protection. He's rather a person, my grandfather. He's over 80, about 4'10", and everybody else looks rather dim beside him. He sounds interesting, I said. He is interesting. He is a Greek from Smyrna. Aristide Leonide, she added with a twinkle. He's extremely rich. Will anybody be rich after this is over? My grandfather will, Sophia said with assurance. No soaking the rich tactics would have any effect on him. He'd just soak the soakers. I wonder, she added, if you'll like him. Do you? I asked. Better than anyone in the world, said Sophia. Let's see, that was chapter 1, but maybe I'll read chapter 2 as well. Yeah, chapter 2 is pretty short, so I'll also read that. If you can't tell, this was written probably a good long while ago. Agatha Christie died in 1976. So I actually don't know what year this was written. Let's see. It was published in 1949. 2. It was over 2 years before I returned to England. They were not easy years. I wrote to Sophia and heard from her fairly frequently. Her letters, like mine, were not love letters. They were letters written to each other by close friends. They dealt with ideas and thoughts and with comments on the daily trend of life. Yet I know that as far as I was concerned, and I believed as far as Sophia was concerned too, our feelings for each other grew and strengthened. I returned to England on a soft gray day in September. The leaves on the trees were golden in the evening light. They were playful gusts of winds. From the airfield, I sent a telegram to Sophia. Just arrived back. Will you dine this evening? Mario's 9 o'clock. Charles. A couple of hours later, I was sitting reading the Times and scanning the births, marriages, and deaths column. My eye was caught by the name Leonides. On September 9th, at 3 Gables, Swinley Dean, Aristide Leonides, beloved husband of Brenda Leonides, in his 88th year, deeply regretted. There was another announcement immediately below. Leonides, suddenly at his residence, 3 Gables, Swinley Dean, Aristide Leonides, deeply mourned by his loving children and grandchildren. Flowers to St. Eldred's Church, Swinley Dean. I found the 2 announcements rather curious. There seemed to have been some faulty staff work resulting in overlapping, but my main preoccupation was Sophia. I hastily sent her a second telegram. Just seen the news of your grandfather's death. Very sorry. Let me know when I can see you. Charles. A telegram from Sophia reached me at 6 o'clock at my father's house. It said, we'll be at Mario's 9 o'clock. Sophia. The thought of meeting Sophia again made me both nervous and excited. The time crept by with maddening slowness. I was at Mario's, waiting 20 minutes too early. Sophia herself was only 5 minutes late. It is always a shock to meet someone whom you have not seen for a long period of time, but who has been very much present in your mind during that period. When at last Sophia came through the swing doors, our meeting seemed completely unreal. She was wearing black, and that in some curious way startled me. Most other women were wearing black, but I got it into my head that it was definitely mourning, and it surprised me that Sophia should be the kind of person who did wear black, even for a near relative. We had cocktails, then went and found our table. We talked rather fast and feverishly, asking after old friends of the Cairo days. It was artificial conversation, but it tided us over the first awkwardness. I expressed commiseration for her grandfather's death, and Sophia said quietly that it had been very sudden. Then we started off again reminiscing. I began to feel uneasily that something was the matter. Something, other than the first natural awkwardness of meeting again. There was something wrong, definitely wrong, with Sophia herself. Was she perhaps going to tell me that she had found some other man whom she cared for more than she did for me? That her feeling had been all a mistake? Somehow I didn't think it was that. I didn't know what it was. Meanwhile, we continued our artificial talk. Then suddenly, as the waiter placed coffee on the table and retired bowing, everything swung into focus. Here were Sophia and I sitting together as so often before a small table in a restaurant. The years of our separation might never have been. Sophia, I said, and immediately she said, Charles. I drew a deep breath of relief. Thank goodness that's over, I said. What's been the matter with us? Probably my fault. I was stupid. But it's all right now? Yes, it's all right now. We smiled at each other. Darling, I said, and then, how soon will you marry me? Her smile died. The something, whatever it was back. I don't know, she said. I'm not sure, Charles, that I can ever marry you. But Sophia, why not? Is it because you feel I'm a stranger? Do you want time to get used to me again? Is there someone else? No, I broke off. I'm a fool. It's none of those things. No, it isn't, she shook her head. I waited, she said in a low voice. It's my grandfather's death. Your grandfather's death? But why? What earthly difference can that make? You don't mean, surely you can't imagine. Is it money? Hasn't he left any? But surely, dearest, it isn't money, she gave a fleeting smile, and I think you'd be quite willing to take me in my shift, as the old saying goes, and grandfather never lost any money in his life. Then what is it? It's just his death, you see. I think, Charles, that he didn't just die. I think he may have been killed. I stared at her. But what a fantastic idea. What made you think of it? I didn't think of it. The doctor was queer to begin with. He wouldn't sign a certificate. They're going to have a post-mortem. It isn't quite clear that they suspect something is wrong. It is quite clear that they suspect something is wrong. I didn't dispute that with her. Sophia had plenty of brains. Any conclusion she had drawn could be relied upon. Instead, I said earnestly, their suspicions may be quite unjustified, but putting that aside, supposing that they are justified, how does that affect you and me? It might under certain circumstances. You are in the diplomatic service. They're rather peculiar about wives. No, please, don't say all the things that you're bursting to say. You're bound to say them, and I believe you really think them, and theoretically, I quite agree with them. But I'm proud. I'm devilishly proud. I want our marriage to be a good thing for everyone, and I don't want to represent one half of a sacrifice for love. And as I say, it may be all right. You mean the doctor may have made a mistake? Even if he hasn't made a mistake, it won't matter, so long as the right person killed him. What do you mean, Sophia? It was a beastly thing to say, but after all, one might as well be honest. She forestalled my next words. No, Charles, I'm not going to say any more. I've probably said too much already. But I was determined to come and meet you tonight, to see you myself and make you understand. We can't settle anything until this has been cleared up. At least tell me about it. She shook her head. I don't want to. But Sophia, no, Charles, I don't want you to see us from my angle. I want you to see us unbiased from the outside point of view. And how am I to do that? She looked at me, a queer light in her brilliant blue eyes. You'll get that from your father, she said. I had told Sophia in Cairo that my father was Assistant Commissioner of the Scotland Yard. He still held that office. At her words, I felt a cold weight settling down on me. It's as bad as that, then? I think so. Do you see a man sitting at a table by the door all alone? Rather a nice-looking, stolid ex-army type? Yes. He was on Swinley Dean platform this evening when I got into the train. You mean he's followed you here? Yes. I think we're all, how does one put it, under observation. They more or less hinted that we'd better not leave the house, but I was determined to see you. Her small square chin shot out pugnaciously. I got out of the bathroom window and shinnied down the water pipe. Darling! But the police are very efficient. And of course there was the telegram I sent you. Well, never mind. We're here. Together. But from now on, we've got to play a lone hand. She paused and then added, Unfortunately, there's no doubt about our loving each other. No doubt at all, I said. And don't say unfortunately. You and I have survived a world war. We've had plenty of near escapes from sudden death, and I don't see why the sudden death of just one old man. How old was he, by the way? 87. Of course, it was in the Times. If you ask me, he just died of old age, and any self-respecting GP would accept the fact. If you'd known my grandfather, said Sophia, you'd have been surprised at his dying of anything. And that are the first 2 chapters. So if you're intrigued, feel free to pick up a copy and read along with me. And in some time after I finish this, I'll let you all know about all my thoughts, and you can tell me about yours. But I hope you found this video to be relaxing. Make you sleepy. And I hope you have sweet dreams. Almost as sweet as you. And I will see you in my next video.